idea that other people essentially exist, that other people are separate, other people have lives, they have thoughts, they have intentions, they have feelings of their own that are completely independent and unique to those people. From about 2 to 4, this is a completely foreign concept to children. From 2 to 4, all they know is themselves, their point of view only. They cannot yet really fathom that other people are completely separate from them, which is where a lot of frustrations arise from, because they believe that you know all about them, because the world is all about them. So if they're having a thought or they're imagining something, they think that you know exactly what that thought is, what that feeling is, what that imagination is. And they get frustrated with you when you don't, because you're not in their head, but they don't understand that. And then that could be the beginning of a possible tantrum. Let me see if I can think of an example of this. Yes. So this morning, actually, a really funny example, not a tantruming example. My daughter was talking with Grandma, and she told Grandma, "Don't you think I'm wearing such a pretty dress?" Not understanding that Grandma cannot see her dress through the phone. She just knows her reality. Her reality is she's there wearing a beautiful dress. Obviously, everybody can see it. There's no logic there. There's no theory of mind there. She doesn't understand that Grandma is in a completely different space. At about 4 or so, theory of mind begins to become developed. Why? Because slowly, very, very slowly, the prefrontal cortex, so the front of the brain, remember, front is the last thing to develop, and it's the slowest thing to develop. So the front is just starting, just beginning to work on some of the foundations for logic, for abstract thought, for understanding empathy, feelings, intentions, just beginning. So that's why at around 4 or so, you can find that children might understand simple theories of mind. And one of the tests that they run for this is called the false belief test. There's many variations of it out there. One variation, for instance, is where you take, this is a perfect example right here, right? I show you this box, right? And then I ask you, what's in the box? Or what do you think is in the box? So you would look at the box, or a 4-year-old would look at the box and they'd say, colored pencils, because I'm familiar with that, because I've used it in my life. Or if I'm an adult, I know how to read it. It says colored pencils, so that is what I expect to be inside. But what if I open it and I reveal that actually there are pretzels in here? There are no colored pencils. It's all just pretzels. Now you know that pretzels are in here. Now, if I said, Angela has been asleep this whole time, so Angela does not know what's in this box. What do you think Angela is going to say is in this box? So a 4-year-old that has theory of mind, or at least has the beginnings of theory of mind, will say, Angela will think colored pencils are in the box, because that's what's usually in the box. And that's what adults would say. Okay, a 4-year-old would not say it as sophisticatedly. They would just say, she thinks colored pencils are in there. Right? As we become more sophisticated, the adult answer would be like, yeah, she thinks colored pencils because it says so, or that's what is traditionally in there, right? But a 2-year-old, having just learned that pretzels are in here, and having the inability to have that abstract thought that Angela or any other person is oblivious to their truth will say, Angela thinks pretzels are inside. That's why it's called a false belief. She falsely believes that Angela knows that there's pretzels in there, even though Angela was never aware of that fact to begin with. Now, interestingly, people with on the autism spectrum disorder have much difficulty developing theory of mind, and in fact, a lot of them, depending on how severe their autism is, may never fully develop their theory of mind or fully understand theory of mind. And what we find, in fact, is that this theory of mind is something that's not just innate, but needs to be practiced. So what a lot of people don't realize is that bringing a child into the world does not end with just birthing the child. It is a continual process of practice and input and practice and input and practice and input, especially when that child may have difficulties like autism. And by the way, there are several adults, at least some that come to my mind, that still do not have a fully developed theory of mind. Sure, they may understand that other people exist and other people have their own separate thoughts and feelings, but it doesn't just end there. A full theory of mind also means that you can fully take the time to empathize with somebody, to understand where they might be coming from, to understand or reflect that they might have been having a bad day when they snapped at you, for instance. But many of us still don't. Many of us still think that the person snapping at us just has a bad attitude. We don't take that time to really express, or to really exercise our theory of mind.